The gut brain or enteric brain is located in your stomach and intestines. It has about 100 million neurons, and their job is safety and mobilization. So when you're feeling fearful, or you have those butterflies in your stomach feeling, or you have a gut feeling about something, that's your gut brain signaling the central nervous system to mobilize you and try to get to a place of safety or homeostasis. So the yogis understood that strong emotions emanate from the belly region, and they developed many yoga practices to help to create better balance in the belly. So that's what we're going to do today, yoga for your gut brain. So let's get started. Come on down to seated. And we're going to begin by placing the hands over the belly. And you're welcome to soften or close your eyes and just take a moment here and kind of tune in to this area of your body. You can take some deep breaths if you like. Sometimes we send messages to this part of our body like we don't like it, or it's not the way it's supposed to look. And so to counter some of that, just bring in a feeling of peacefulness, of calmness, of compassion to your body. Call that in. And you're welcome to take a nice deep breath here and just kind of feel that flowing from your hands into your body. Okay, one more breath. And next, what we're going to do is take a breath and let the arms come out to the side with the elbows slightly bent. You can lift your eyes. And as if you're kind of gathering more peacefulness, more calm in the palms of your hands. And then when you're ready, bring your hands back to your belly. You can let the eyes lower and switch which hand touches your body first. Let's do that again. Inhale. Lift the eyes. And as you exhale, bring your hands back to your belly. And you can lower your eyes if you like. Let's do 2 more of these. Feelings of peacefulness, kindness, compassion, if you like. One more time. And this time, as you bring your hands to your belly, we'll stay there just for another moment. Again, just sort of flooding your body with those feelings of kindness. And next, what we're going to do is start to move the hands in a clockwise direction in kind of just a really gentle and superficial massage. Just kind of touching lightly the skin and kind of, bringing kind feelings here again to your belly. We'll do some deeper massage too, but it's nice to start with just kind of noticing what's going on here. Okay, and then let your fingers rest on either side of your navel with your thumbs on your waist. And we'll take a breath. And as you exhale, blow the breath out through your teeth. And then use your fingers and gently massage into your belly. You may feel like you want to go a little deeper, but be careful if you have anything going on, particularly, of course, if you're pregnant. You don't want to go deep into the belly. If you have anything serious going on with your digestive system, then we're going to take a deep breath again. Exhale through your teeth. And here's another thing you can add. Lower your chin and then go into the massage. And you want to keep your breath out here if it's comfortable. If it's not, breathe as is comfortable for you. And then lift up tall, lift the chin again, breathe in. We can do it one more time, exhaling. And just getting into the belly a little bit. Just a kind massage. This isn't painful. It should feel good. Just kind of working a little bit into the belly there. And then as you finish, lift your face and let your hands rest on your lap. And we'll pause here for a moment and find your breath. So next we're going to come up to all fours. And if you like, you are welcome to pad your knees with a blanket. And from tabletop pose, we're going to take a breath here. And then use your exhale to draw your belly in and lower your hips towards your heels. So you feel a little bit of massage there from your thighs. You're welcome to have the knees wider if that's more comfortable, by the way. And then on your next inhale, Start to lengthen your spine and kind of pull back on your hands a bit. Lift your chest and face. Keep your lower back neutral. And then on the exhale, lowering down again, lowering your chin towards your chest. Okay, let's do that again. Inhale forward. And exhale back. I'm going to do one more of those. Inhaling tabletop. And exhaling child's. And this time when you come to child's pose, let's stay here. If you like, you can shift your hips a little bit side to side. This would actually be a good place to put a block, or you could put your fists underneath your third eye. And just take a moment here to feel the connection, or acknowledge the connection between the belly and the brain. So just acknowledge that connection for a moment. Take another breath. And then when you're ready, take your time and we'll come up to standing on the knees. So this would be a good place, again, to have a blanket so you have a little support. We'll step the left foot forward. And for this one, we're going to have the right hand by your side, the left hand on your left thigh. Okay, so as you inhale, lower your hips and let the right arm sweep up and the eyes follow it. And then on the exhale, back up your hips a little bit, let your right arm come back down. Okay, let's do it again. Inhale. And exhale. We're going to do two more of these. So the purpose of doing this is to work into some of the muscles along that whole front line, right? So we're working from the arm all the way down the front of the body on the right side. This time we'll stay in the pose. And as you exhale, just bend your elbow. Perhaps touch your back here if you like. And then what we're going to do here is use an inhale to make a little bit of a C curve so we get into the psoas, right? So inhaling, you're just C curving your spine a little to the left, exhaling back to neutral, inhaling, C curving a little bit to the left, and coming back to neutral. We'll do that one more time. And this time, as you C curve, stay here for 2 or 3 breaths. You're welcome to kind of lift your eyes here if that helps you, getting the sensation from your right elbow all the way down into the right thigh. One more breath. And then as you're ready, inhale, stretch your arm up, and exhale as you back out of your lunge. And then come to mountain pose here just for a moment. It's mini mountain pose because you're on your knees. So just take a moment in your mountain pose and notice. And then we'll step the right foot forward. And you can put your right hand on your right thigh, and the left arm is going to move. And you want to coordinate that movement, by the way. This is good for the hemispheres of the brain for better communication. When you feel the right arm and the left leg moving together and doing that with awareness. So as you inhale, lowering the hips a bit, left arm reaches up. And as you exhale, float back down. And let's do that again. So inhaling, the left arm comes up, lower the hips. And exhaling, floating back down. We'll do 2 more, and then we're going to stay in the pose. And by the way, if your breath goes a little faster than my breath or a little slower than my breath, that's totally fine. You want to work at your own breathing pace, not my pace. This time we'll stay. And when you're ready, bend that left elbow. So your left hand comes to your upper back. And then we'll use the inhale to C curve over to the right and exhaling back to neutral. Let's do that again. And so hopefully you're feeling sensations from, the armpit and the elbow all the way down into the hip and the thigh. This time stay in the pose for 2 or 3 breaths. And then on your next inhale, reaching that left arm up, and exhale and float back down. We come back to standing up on your knees for a moment. Soften or close your eyes here and just kind of tune in. And then we're going to come on up to standing. Okay, so from standing, come to mountain pose for a moment. And just kind of check out, see some of the sensations in your belly after the work that we've just been doing on the floor. And we're going to actually do a little bit of Qigong here. So I'd like to start by bringing the hands close to each other. And the idea here is to visualize or kind of imagine that you have a ball of energy between your hands, okay? So you're kind of letting the hands come close and then kind of move away. So you feel sort of that little bit of stickiness or bounciness between your hands. And if you're not quite sure that you feel anything, that's okay. It's just use your imagination. Okay, so we're making this ball of energy, and we're going to take this energy and we're going to press it down into the earth. You can exhale here. Bend your knees a little bit. And then when you inhale, scoop that ball of energy up to your chest. And as you exhale, push it up towards the heavens. When inhale, gather that ball of energy, bring it back to your chest again. And then when you exhale, push it down into the earth. Bend your knees a little bit. Inhale, scoop it up again, bring it up to the level of your chest. And exhale, push it up over your head. And then on the inhale, gather it again. Bring it to your chest and exhale and push it down. So let's do that 2 more times. And I'll give you breath cues, but go at your own breathing pace. So you're using the inhale to take the ball up. And as you do each breath, it's like you're making that ball of energy even stronger, even more vibrant. Inhaling back to your chest, exhaling, pushing down to the earth. Bend your knees a little bit 1 more time. You get it to the level of your chest, then push it up. And then gather it again down to your chest, and we'll bring it all the way down so that's in front of your belly again. And now feel your ball of chi and see if it feels a little different than it did before we kind of played with it. And you can make it really kind of dense and strong and small. And then you can also play with it being a little bit bigger and softer and fluffier. So you can play with it being bigger and play with it being smaller. And if you don't feel anything, that's okay. Just kind of use it as a playful experiment. You can think about it that way. So let's get that ball really small and dense now. And imagine that it's full of chi or prana. And then we're going to take a deep breath and place that ball of energy right into the belly. And imagine it's just filling up in there. It's filling up in your belly. It's filling up your body. Take another couple of breaths here. And then release your hands down by your sides and just pause for a moment and notice how that made you feel. Just kind of tune into it. Next, we're going to do kind of a practice that's a little bit like a forward bend and a chair pose together. So we'll do this with cactus arms, so soft arms out to the side. Take a breath in. And when you're ready, bend your knees a lot, and you can bring your hands down to your thighs or your shins or the floor. And then as you're ready, pressing through chair pose and come back up. And do it again. Exhale down, and you can put your hands on the thighs. They don't have to go all the way to the floor. You just want to bend your knees a bit here, and then float back up on your inhale. And we'll do that 2 more times. Exhaling down, inhaling back up. Okay, now this last time, let's stay here for a little bit, a few breaths, and you can work on bending the knees a little bit more. It's not like a complete squat, but it's kind of a half squat, and maybe putting the hands on the floor. If they don't like to come to the floor, maybe your thighs are fine. Take another breath here. And as you're ready, on the inhale, float up to regular chair. So you could do whatever you like with your arms. You could do cactus or arms out in front or arms up over your head. That's totally fine. Let's take another 2 or 3 breaths. Each exhale, you can sink just a little bit more. And then when you're ready, float back up and exhale your arms down. Okay, so take a moment here. You can wiggle and jiggle if you like. And so part of that was about like the deep bend and getting a little bit of massage in the belly by connecting to the legs. Next, let's separate the feet. And you can turn your right foot towards the right a bit. Feel free to turn your left toes in a little bit. We're going to do a warrior two pose. So as you bend and straighten your right knee, make sure it goes in the direction of the second and third toe, so you're keeping that safe. You don't necessarily have to crank this left hip out. You know, if it feels like you're getting some stretch there, you can. But what's more important is making sure that as you bend the knee, that the hips are staying relatively neutral here. Okay, so let your hands come to your navel and just take a moment here to pause and notice. And kind of feel that what we started with, those feelings of kindness and compassion for your belly. Okay, so when you're ready, take an inhale, bend the right knee and float the arms out to the side. If you like, you can look at your right fingertips. And on the exhale, let the hands float back to the belly as you straighten the right leg. Okay, let's do that again. Inhale. So what you can imagine here is you're gathering up that energy again, gathering up that prana or that chi and bringing it to your belly. You can also change which hand touches your belly first. Okay, and the next time you come into your warrior two pose, we'll stay there. You can look out over the fingertips of your right hand and feel a little bit of sense of strength and courage, because warrior pose is, as much as anything, the warrior poses are about building that strength and courage, which is, you know, telling the nervous system that you don't have to be afraid, you don't have to be in this state of alarm or this state of anxiety and stress. So if you'd like, you can bend that front knee just a bit more. Take another breath here. And then when you're ready, straighten your front leg and let the hands come to rest on the belly. Turn your feet so they're both facing in the same direction. Hands resting on the belly. Soften or close your eyes. And then we'll just do some free breaths here. Again, focusing on or bringing those feelings of kindness and compassion to your belly. And when you're ready, turn your left foot towards the left and turn your right toes in a little bit. And let's go ahead and try warrior two on this side. So we're going to inhale, bend the left knee. Remember the knee goes over or in the direction of the second and third toe. Not over it, but in that direction. And let's do it again. We'll do about 3 or 4 more. One more. Let's stay here in the pose. If you want to do an extra one, that's fine. I don't remember if we did exactly the same on both sides. So you're welcome to turn and look over the fingertips of your left hand. You're welcome to bend that left knee any amount more. And this is a great pose to kind of tune into that strength and courage that's in your own body, mind, you know, and kind of feel it shoring up, feel it kind of building a little bit. One more breath here. And then as you're ready, straighten that front leg, and you can bring your hands to your belly, turn your feet so they're in the same direction, and take a moment here again to tune into those feelings of strength, of kindness, of safety, if you like. Okay, so for this one, we're going to slide the hands down the outsides of the legs. So if your feet are not comfortable here, bring them in a little closer. No worries. Take a breath. And as you exhale, soften your knees a bit. Tuck your chin in. Round your lower back a little. And just pause here for a moment. And then lengthen your spine. Keep your belly firm. Lengthen your spine as you float back up with an inhale. Okay, let's do it again. Exhaling down. You want to feel the lower belly drawing in, and the back rounds a bit. Chin draws in, and then on the inhale, there's a lengthening to float back up. Good. We're going to do that 2 more times. Exhaling down, and hopefully here you're feeling the work in the belly as you go into the exhale. Use the movement and use the breath to feel some work in the belly. Lengthen when you come back up. And this time as you go into the forward bend, we'll stay there. It's not really a massage, but the hands on your legs like this does certainly improve proprioceptive awareness. So it's where is my body in space, as well as interoceptive awareness. So this time let's stay here for a few breaths. And what you could do is work a little bit in the backs of your legs. So as you're inhaling, you feel a little more energy in the backs of your legs. And as you're exhaling, softening the knees a bit. A little bit more stretch in the backs of the legs. Last one. And then bring your hands to the outside of your ankles. Exhale completely. Draw the belly in. Lengthen your spine and inhale to come back up. If you feel dizzy, you want to wiggle around. Yoga walk your feet back towards each other. And then we'll come into just a moment of shaking, wiggle and jiggling, I like to call it, and then come to mountain pose for a moment. And take a moment here and notice. Find your breath. Okay, so next we're going to do a little bit of work with using the arms and the legs, and it's going to require some balance. So you may want to have a chair close by or a wall close by if that's going to be helpful for you. So to begin, we'll take the arms up over the head. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to squeeze the right knee into your chest with both hands. And so that means you're balancing just in your left leg here, right? And then on the inhale, reach the arms up again. Put the right foot down. And then exhale, squeeze your left leg in towards your chest. So you're just getting that. Again, it's, this is all about like massaging different parts of your belly. So do it again. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, the right leg comes in. Squeeze that in there. Draw your belly in too, because that'll help. Let's do it again. Inhale, arms up, right leg down. And then exhale, left leg in. Take your time. You got to find your balance with this one, right? Okay. And then this time, as you exhale, drawing the right leg up, we're going to stay here in the pose. And if you slip your hands underneath the leg, that might work a little bit better. Some people like to straighten their right leg here. You're welcome to do that. Or not. And then we're going to take the right hand from here. We're going to take the right hand and start to reach it back behind. And then maybe turn your face and look back behind. And maybe stay for another breath or two. You really want to work your belly here. And then go ahead and release your leg down and release your arms. And you may want to give that left leg a little shake out, or your arms a little shake out too. So just take a moment to rest in your mountain pose. Take a breath. And when you're ready, the arms reach up again on an inhale. And then we're going to do the left side. So shifting your weight into the right foot. Take your left knee up. If you like, you can slip your hand underneath your left leg. And you don't have to twist here. I mean, you're still working the belly. On each exhale, you get to work the belly in more, right? But if you like, maybe the left hand reaches back. And then maybe the eyes turn back too. Let's take 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, you can take your left hand back and release everything down. And then maybe you want to shake out your right leg a little bit. Okay, so take your moment in mountain pose. You can feel the different sides of your belly and the work that we just did there. All right, we're going to come back down to the floor again. So this would be a good place if you want to grab your blanket, because we're going to be revisiting those lunges that we did, but now we're a little bit more ready for doing some little bit of variations with them. Okay, so please step your right foot forward And you can place both hands on your right leg this time. So we're going to inhale, lower the hips again, just like we were doing before. But this time we're keeping the arms down. And then exhale, back up. And then do that again. And exhale and back up. And now this time, we'll stay here in the pose. And what some people like to do is just kind of slip that left hand over to the outside of the right leg, and then just let the right arm start to extend back behind you, so you're getting some of that twist. And stay here, working the belly on the exhale. Some people like to take the elbow to the left elbow to the outside of the knee. That's fine, but one of the risks there is that you end up using the arm like a crowbar, and it could be a little intense in the low back, so it's not the goal, it's just one option, another way to do it. Let's take another breath here. And then we'll release the right hand and back up and take a moment and stand in mountain pose and just notice sensations on the right side of the body. I'm going to turn around for the other one just so I'm not facing away from you, but you're welcome to stay right where you are and then step your left foot forward, both hands on the left thigh. As you inhale, lower the hips a bit. As you exhale, back up a bit. Let's do that again. Inhaling, lowering the hips. And exhaling and backing up. And then on our third one, we'll stay there in the pose. And so again, you might take that right hand, just kind of slip it to the outside of your left thigh, and then start to feel the left arm starting to stretch back. And maybe your eyes follow into the twist. And then what some people like to do, as I mentioned, is put the right elbow on the outside, if that's a nice twist for you. But again, try not to use your arms like crowbars. We'll take another breath or two here. So doing that twist and a little bit of work that's happening in the gut here. And as you're ready, release the hand. We're going to back up. And next, bring your hands to the floor, and we'll do tabletop inhale, child's pose exhale. And what some people might want to do is tabletop inhale and down dog exhale. So you can choose which one feels right for you today. Inhaling to tabletop. You can always alternate them. And exhale to child's or down dog. Okay, so we'll do one more, and then you can choose to either spend the next 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 breaths in child's pose, or the same thing in down dog. As you're ready, if you're not in child's pose, come down to child's pose for a couple of breaths. And just kind of tune in. Notice how your body's feeling after all the stuff we've been doing in the belly. How your breath feels. Okay, so the next pose we're going to do is a version of Mayurasana. And a blanket is a really good prop to use for this version because it's soft. Some people like to use those kind of exercise balls that are a little squishy. Those can work too, but what I have right now is a blanket, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to fold it up. So my blanket's here is like maybe 5 or 6 inches. And what I'm going to do is place my navel right on top of the blanket here, and then come down onto forearms. And then if you want to make it a little more intense, you can curl your toes under and lift up, lift your knees up. But you don't have to, you can keep the knees down too. And all I'm doing here is kind of massaging into my belly, so rocking a little side to side. Some people actually like to do this with a block as well, so that's another option. But it's a little more intense. That's a little easier. Hopefully you didn't have bacon and egg breakfast this morning because you want to make sure that you do this when you're belly's relatively empty. Actually, the whole class is good to do with your belly relatively empty. So this is just a little bit of massage. I'm just kind of side to side rocking a bit here. Just get a little massage in the belly. And you can stay here for, 30 seconds to a minute is usually pretty good. And so I call this a variation of Mayurasana. And Mayurasana is the one where you balance on your elbow points. And, I taught that pose for many, many years, and I found it was very rare that people could do it comfortably in most of my yoga classes. So then I just started teaching it with the blanket and the block, and it's much more accessible. You could put your head down if you wanted to. That's another option. It's a little more relaxing. Okay, so as you're ready, we're going to come back up off of the prop, whatever prop you decided to use there, and then just sit back for a moment. You can sit, if you're comfortable sitting on your knees, you can sit on your knees. If you just want to sit with your legs crossed, that's also fine. And then you're just going to tune in to some of the work that we just did. Some people like to sit in child's pose, but sometimes it's like you do child's pose so many times during the class that sometimes it's nice to sit up too. Okay, so let's come down onto our backs. All right, so what we're going to do next, well, first, we're going to do a twist, but before we do that, let's just bring your hands to your belly for a moment here. And feeling a sense like you're just allowing the belly, the organs to sink, and you're allowing the muscles in your low back to open and soften here. So you want to let some of that soften. Sometimes the posture that happens when we're in a state of fear is that we go into like a little arch in the low back, and there's a lot of tension there. So we want to let some of that go here. This pose is called Constructive Rest, and it's actually really good for tuning into that letting go of the holding that happens in the low back and the psoas in the muscles in the belly. And, just so you can be present and turn off that stress response for a little bit. And take a few more breaths here. Just softening and also kind of observing how you feel after the practice. Okay, so next we're going to stretch the arms out to the side with the palms facing down. Bring your knees close to your chest. And I'm going to request that you be really careful as you do this twist, especially if you have low back issues. You don't have to go very far. So take a breath in, and then as you exhale, use your belly to let the knees come over towards the right as your head looks towards the left. And your knees don't have to come all the way down. They can come maybe halfway or 2/3 the first time. Inhaling back to neutral and letting your knees go over to the left as your head looks over to the right with the same idea. Don't have to go all the way down. Inhale back up. So the face comes back to neutral now. And then as you exhale, let your head look to the left as the knees come to the right. And maybe they go a little further this time. And inhaling back up. And you feel like you're really using your belly to do it. The knees go in the direction of your elbow. Okay, now this time, as your knees go over to the right, however far down they come is great. If they come to the floor, that's fine. If they don't, another thing you can do is put a blanket or a bolster here and let your knees rest on the blanket or the bolster. And then your head looks to the left. And we'll pause here. About 3 breaths. Use each exhale to feel like you're working the belly. So each exhale, you draw the belly in a little bit further. Navel to the spine is often a really good cue there. And then we're going to inhale the knees back up to neutral when you're ready. And exhale your knees down to the left again. And again, if they don't come all the way to the floor, please use a bolster or a blanket for support so you're not overstretching any of the structures in your low back or your hips. The head can look right. And we're going to do about 3 deep breaths, feeling the navel draw towards your spine. Feel like you're really working your navel here. Can even linger a little bit in the exhale. And when you're ready, inhale your knees back up to your chest. And then if you like, you can give them a little squeeze in and maybe some rock and roll, a little side to side rocking. Put one foot on the floor and then the other. We'll go back to constructive rest for a moment with your hands on your belly, softening, intentionally softening the muscles in your low back. Feeling like the organs and the muscles in the organs in your belly and then the muscles around your belly are also softening. And when you're ready, roll to your side and we'll come up to seated. Okay, so please come up to seated, and you want to sit on something comfortable. Folded blanket, bolster, whatever's comfortable for you. So we're going to do a version of Matsyendra's twist, and because what's important about this one is that one of the legs is up, because that's where we're going to get the pressure into the belly. Okay, so I'm going to start with my right foot in front of my left shin. Now, some people really like to take the right foot over the left thigh, and that's perfectly fine if you feel like you're getting more, feel like you're getting a little more in the belly, but the risk here, of course, is the low back, so be careful. Okay, so interlace the fingers around the right shin, take a breath, get a little taller, and then we're going to keep that left hand on the right shin, the right hand comes behind you, and as you exhale, feel the belly drawing in, going into that twist, and don't use your arms like crowbars, right? And then use your inhale to unwind about halfway. And exhale, wind yourself back into it. Use your belly more than arms, belly more than muscles in the arms, okay? Inhale, unwind a little bit, because you got to give a little space for the belly there. And then exhale, wind into it. Use your navel. Draw your right thigh into your belly a bit more. One more time. Unwinding about halfway, and then exhaling into it. Good. And feel it. Just kind of sink into that exhale and feel the belly doing that work, getting that massage there. And then we'll just let the arms release, take them to the other side for a moment, and then back to neutral. Okay, so sit with your legs crossed for a moment and feel all that work you just did on the right side of your belly. Then we're going to take the left foot in front of the right shin, or if you want, you can cross it over. I mean, that's totally up to you. Just don't yank yourself into the pose. And it's not the goal. It's just one version, right? There's many different versions. Okay, and then interlacing the fingers around the left shin. Get a little taller. Take a breath in. We're going to let the left hand float behind us. I'm just on my fingertips, by the way. I'm not flat on my palm, and that gives me a little more play. Use your exhale to twist. And then use your inhale to untwist about halfway. And then exhale, twist again. Use that belly. So this is the pose that we've been working up to, because this is really one of the best poses for massaging the organs. If you're doing it with that kind of moving in and out a little bit, lots of intentionality in the belly here, using your belly muscles to massage the organs. This last time, we'll stay. Just linger in your exhale for a moment. And then return to neutral. And take a couple of breaths here again. So now you feel all the work you did on the left side. Let's take a couple of breaths there. Okay, now let's take the right foot in front of the left shin again. Or maybe you can cross it over if you want. Interlace your fingers around the right shin. Get a little taller. Take a breath in. We're going to do it again. Right hand comes behind you. So I'm just on my fingertips here, right behind, drawing the belly in. And then about halfway, or maybe even only a third this time, come out on your inhale. And then exhale. Use your navel. Use the lower muscles in the lower belly. Draw those in. Feel that massage happening. Do it again. Inhale, coming out of it a little bit. Exhaling, twisting. And last time. Okay, and when you get into the exhale here, we're just going to linger. Just stay there for a little longer, feeling the belly doing the work. Feeling the muscles in the belly doing the work, feeling the massage in the organs. And then inhaling back to neutral. Oh, I just remembered I forgot to unwind on the other side. You can always do that too. Sorry, I forgot that. Okay, so let's take another breath. And we'll do it one more time on the other side. So you can take the left foot in front or you can cross it over. Either way is fine. Get a little taller, breathe in. And then the left hand floats behind you and work your belly. So, if you can do this without the hands, you really are going to feel the work in the belly here, or just using the hands very lightly. So inhaling, unwinding about halfway, and then exhaling as you go back into it. Inhaling, unwinding about halfway, and exhaling back into it. One more time. And then just linger in your exhale here. And release it back to neutral. Okay, so now we're going to sit with the legs crossed, and actually I want to block for what we're going to do next. So if you have a block close by, you can use it. You could also just use a folded blanket, or you could use a bolster for this too. And I'm going to place the block in front because I'm going to put my head on the block. I feel like I'm going to have it a little bit higher. Some people don't need the block at all. You can just put your head on the floor. That's just fine. This is called Yoga Mudra. You can start with the palms together at your heart. It's a nice pose to counterpose the twist, but it also just puts the mind into kind of a more subtle state. So when you're ready, let the hands float behind you. You're going to hold your left wrist with your right hand behind you. Take a breath, get a little taller. As you exhale, you use your navel to fold forward and place your third eye on the floor or a block. Whatever's comfortable for you. Pause for a few moments here. And then lengthen your spine and come back up. Okay, we're going to do that 3 or 4 more times. Each time you go down, see if you can stay in the exhale a little bit longer. Navel is moving towards the spine here. When your body tells you to, inhale and come back up. Exhaling down again, pausing. Just linger in your exhale. Kind of pushing a little bit into, or activating a little bit more into that parasympathetic part of the nervous system. Okay, here's the last one. Pause. And when your body tells you to, inhale back up, lengthen. And then let your hands float to your lap, soften or close your eyes. And just take a few moments here and feel kind of that meditative sensation or vibration that comes from that practice we just did. So as much as it's so wonderful to do all the massage in the belly when you're working with gut-brain stuff, it's also really important to activate that parasympathetic response, and the forward bends tend to do that. Okay, so I want to counterpose some of the stuff we just did, so please come down onto your back. And bring your feet up flat, arms by your sides. So when you're ready, the arms are going to float up over your head onto the floor behind you as your hips lift. And on the exhale, float everything back down. And this is not about getting your hips as high as they can. This is about counterposing what we just did with the twist and the seated forward bend, because the spine's quite loaded there. And the next time you come up into the Dvipadipittam, which is similar to bridge pose, we'll stay here, but I'm not so interested in cranking my hips up. I'm just releasing some of what I did in my low back, and also strengthening the hamstrings and the glutes and the back muscles. So we'll take 2 more breaths here. Or maybe 3. When you're ready, on your next exhale, float everything back down. Some folks may want to squeeze the knees back in, and some people might feel ready. Just stretch the legs out, ready for Shavasana. I'm going to sit up during Shavasana. It's a little easier for me to talk, but I hope that you will stay and do some Shavasana with me. Okay, so get comfortable. If you like, you can start with your hands right on top of your belly. Sometimes that feels nice to start that way in Shavasana. If you prefer to have your arms by your sides, that's fine, of course. Soften or close your eyes. And feel a sense of easefulness, of openness in your belly. A sense of peace and calming. And a sense of self-compassion here. You may want to bring feelings of gratitude to your belly. You think about the alchemy that it does. You put food in it, and it changes what you put into blood and into your body. That's quite remarkable when you think about it. So the amazing work that your belly does for you every day. If you like, this might be a nice time to move your hands to the floor. You are welcome to continue to relax however long that you like. I'm going to finish up right now. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.